And we are starting to get slowly into the data science world, which is actually the main reason for our conversation today. When we started talking, it's like, well, I am a data scientist, but what I really think is that it's solving problems at so many levels, connecting the dots, but at the same time answering the same question, which is, just give me a roadmap. What is the tendency? How I strategically plan better, and how I'm going to describe what I do know I see from my field. And you just mentioned something very important, which is different variables and different perceptions on categories. It's not everything is deterministic. And I actually love the way that you use that analogy, because that's a reality. Not everything is deterministic, and you have to understand that when you are trying to model a behavior and so on, all of these matters, and your perception matters, and your expertise matters. And that's something that I tell my customers every day from data science. It makes zero sense if we don't have an SME involved in the use case. It makes zero sense if we are not feeding to the flow the expertise from the field, which is that possibility to connect the dots and land it into a concept. Okay, so let's talk about digital transformation, because we have been talking about data science and the different applications, and we have been connecting the dots for you into the marketing world. But zooming out a little bit, talking about digital transformation, for me, I have seen it like in the last decade of my life, supporting all of these customers moving into digital transformation slowly. And I see it not necessarily about the technology itself, but it's more like the fact that the technology, which is the digital part of it, is what is helping everybody to solve their traditional problems, but in a completely different way using technology. But you still have a traditional problem. So from your marketing perspective, you have a very unique KPI, you have a goal, you have a target. 10 years ago, it was solved that way. And today, you have a completely different set of tools to accomplish the same or more using the data science, which is for me the amplify your intelligence, augment your intelligence, which is not necessarily imitate human being behavior. No, complement your skills and make you better at what you do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So can you think of a couple of traditional problems that you know within marketing that you are now able to solve in a more digital way, adopting digital transformation and apply data science?
Yeah, absolutely. So one really salient example I can think of was a couple of years ago when I was doing pharmaceutical advertising. The problem we had was identifying specific physicians to understand their prescription behavior and to understand, which physicians should we market to on behalf of this pharmaceutical client that we had. So the exercise goes from me essentially doing three different things. The first one is analyzing the data and segmenting the physicians based on their prescription behavior. And then, the first one is actually finding that data, identifying the right data source, because there are a lot of data sources out there. As a data professional, you probably get a lot of emails from people just saying, hey, I can offer you this tool with greater fidelity and confidence. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge is really analyzing, cleansing, preparing the data, extrapolating the data into using the empirical data to say, okay, this is what we're seeing, but based on what we're seeing, this is what we prescribe. This is actually the new set of physicians we should go after. If we know a physician is increasing his total share of a nasal allergy medication, but it's decreasing within that share the prescription specifically for like Pfizer, let's say, is decreasing, then when you understand what is it? Is it the medication isn't really working for him or her? Have we not provided enough samples or research studies to them to really come up with a prescription? No pun intended, for them to be our customer. And then the third layer is data visualization. In order to convince our internal but also external stakeholders to take an action, we need to tell the story through data, oftentimes using BI tools or data visualization.
Seen it. You have witnessed the adoption of these tools. First of all, the marketing itself is evolving into the way that they do things, but also what is being offered from the SaaS, right, software as a service perspective to provide a solution has been evolved tremendously as well, and now is combining more and more the fact that, hey, you have multiple data silos. Yes, you need to ingest data from multiple places. Yes, you need to create this data virtualization so many people can connect to this data and have an opinion, have a vision, have that thing, especially when they are making a decision, when you actually need to make an educated decision. The more of these insights you have, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have seen it as well with the offerings that you have as the owner of your business, making decisions on which tools are you using and what is that you need from those tools for you to have an optimal marketing view of your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
And I really love your point when you said having multiple views of the marketing business and the success. Right now we're at a stage of digital transformation where we capture a lot of data, but that data oftentimes isn't integrated, isn't shared between platforms, between teams.
What are your main sources? How you get that visibility into your market business, and what is in the wish list? I would love to have this, I don't have it, this is impossible, or we are far away from that, or where are you at?
That exactly got me to the entire internal discussion about integration.
Right.
How data is shared across platforms. If one thing I want right now isn't more tools, isn't more MarTech SaaS platforms, is a way for these different platforms to talk to each other.
Right.
And I understand within the MarTech marketplace, there's a lot of fragmentation. There's also a huge proliferation of technology.
Yeah.
I follow this website. It's called chiefmartech.com.
Okay.
And they publish an infographic of MarTech and AdTech companies.
Yes.
Every year. And in the last 10 years since they started tracking, it probably grew by, I would say it looks like, I don't have how much they grew, but it looks like the first couple of years, it was like close to 100% growth year over year. So essentially it will go anywhere from, at the beginning it was like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 companies. And the most recent year, 2020, they counted 8,000 MarTech AdTech companies.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that tells you right there that the industry itself is very aware of the importance of it. I mean, everything is moving into that direction, period.
Yeah.
We will need to communicate to each other different ways to do so, business to business or whatever. APIs is the number one concept that makes that possible, right? But then we will have to also think about security and governance and protocols and privacy and ethics. And I mean, it opens a whole world of questions, right? And because for you is marketing data that I'm using towards my use case, but from another perspective can be personal data that is too private to share, and then you start going into these lines into what is it too much, what is not too much, and then we will have all of these conversations regarding regulations and all of that. That is a lot going on right now, but it will get more and more and more and more, right?
Yeah, those are really great conversations to be had right now in terms of data governance and stewardship.
Exactly.
As tech companies, I think if our goal is to make the world a better place, then we need to make sure we are protecting people's identity, protecting people's privacy, but at the same time offering services that's personalized.
Yeah, totally. So what do you think your next step will be towards optimizing? We're talking about doing whatever we do, doing better, more of that, optimizing your digital marketing strategy, or how do you see augmenting your skills within data science and applied data science in the near next future? What do you think is your next step?
Yeah, so I think some of the priority regarding data science for me is definitely exploration, to continue to explore AI assisted technology in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
They are, AI assisted technology is not new, but in terms of what's actually feasible right now when it comes to data collection, data validation, and analysis, that's really important.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenge I see in my day-to-day is when I get a data document, I will do a quick check, just spot check. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you the data hygiene is big concern. Yep. Not that anyone is doing it hugely better than the other. It's just that when we collect information, if it's people voluntarily submitted information, there can be cases where people purposely mislead you or provide wrong information. Mm-hmm. And then if we use a more programmatic way of collecting data, there's a lot of ways we can miss nuances.
Right.
So in terms of data hygiene precision, that's also something I want to explore how to improve.
Yeah, and that's a challenge, and everybody has them. But I think digital transformation also is opening the opportunity to provide feedback at a moment where actually, you need to feedback to the model, feedback to the data sources, feedback to whoever is collecting the data. Like the farther you get into the applied data science concept, the more you can provide feedback to the original sources and the more techniques will apply to your use case. But it's like a give and take little dance where that doesn't happen until you actually provide something that adds value, where you are defining all the use cases and connecting the dots, and then it's like, oh, this actually works. What about if we change this data source? And what about if we add another data source? What about if we have a better picture of what's going on here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen it. And I like that you are facing it. So you are very unique, and we are talking about today data science and applied data science and marketing because your background is such a unique background. It's not easy to find somebody in marketing that understands the importance of data integration, data governance, data virtualization, application in machine learning and AI, and what it matters and so on. Even though it has been changing dramatically, we still face a very diverse community that has a very diverse set of skills, and that's okay. But right now, adjusting to this market is realizing the power of applied data science and what that brings to your business, right? Which is, hey, this is serious. This is serious. Yeah. Do you have any piece of advice? Like we have been talking, I like the fact that you are using the technology into your own business. You have a roadmap. You know what are your missing points or your wish list that this actually can improve my use case and so on. So if you are talking to somebody, a younger version of yourself, or if you want to inspire somebody that is listening right now, I have been getting a lot of questions on, hey, I don't even know how to start. I don't know what I've seen this data science all over and the sexiest job on this century and all of that, but sometimes it's a very fuzzy concept. It's not so tangible. We are trying to land it. And with you and with your experience, it's like, okay, why will you say to somebody if they are starting this journey?
Yeah, so I can counsel someone specifically who's interested in data science within marketing or within a field that's more interdisciplinary. And I think if they hear all the points I just made, I think it's pretty clear that doing marketing and using data science in marketing is very exciting because you get to solve a lot of different problems and you get to take in all these different perspectives. If you love learning, if you're curious mind, this is the great place for you. The advice I would give someone who's starting in a journey, for example, in my journey when I first started, is to don't be daunted. Talk to a lot of people. Ask for help. Talk to like-minded people, but also people who are different. To really understand what they what they like about data science, what they like about marketing.
Yep.
What I love about my job, as you mentioned before, is that there are so many different skill sets in marketing. A lot of people are more quantitative driven. A lot of people are more artistically driven. A lot of people are very strategic and people driven.
Mm-hmm.
All those different skill sets are hugely valuable. Not having the diversity can cripple a marketing organization to really combine those skill sets to create a successful campaign. Mm-hmm. So on the individual basis, I encourage people to talk to people who are slightly different or have a slightly different academic, professional, or cultural, social backgrounds.
Yeah.
But as an organization, as a team, I also think that diversity of viewpoints, backgrounds is a good thing. It really encourages to explore angles that we each as an individual sometimes miss.
Yes. And what you just mentioned is so important. It's a key factor on avoiding ethic issues within machine learning and applied AI as well. In general, as an example, 20 years ago, somebody was writing an algorithm that was helping this hospital on the admission process. And it was one guy, one engineer writing this algorithm. And then 5 years later, he's like, oh my gosh, we have 0% African American and 0% women in our pool. It's like zero diversity. It was, the guy was writing his script from his perspective, and it was very specific. And a script, that's exactly what you program the thing to do, and period. When you are missing all of these flavors in terms of diversity, you have chat robots insulting humanity and things like that. It's like, machine learning is not magic. And AI is not magic. It's a tool. And as a tool, it requires the proper settings. And we have to oversee those settings. And when I say we as a humans that are the sensitives, that are conscious about social issues or difference, or we are the human part that no machine can bring into the table. And just keep that in mind, right? So it can be AI, but is AI helping me be better in what I do? It's not AI replacing what I do. It's how it's going to complement what I do, how it's going to augment my intelligence. And with marketing and the example today, I think it's a beautiful opportunity to highlight the fact that pretty much data science is all over. But when you put together the dots, it's like, okay, this is how it's working for me. And these are the tweaks that I can do in terms of data sources or data virtualizations or integrities or quality of data that you mentioned is so important. To keep feeding that and keep feeding the experts from the field into that model, keep feeding the expertise, the SMEs, keep adding that into that model, keep optimizing it, and it's going to keep helping you. And 5 years from now, you will have a different set of problems. Because hopefully you will be able to have an automatic connection. You are not thinking about the integration anymore. You are not thinking too much on the quality of the data because you were able to figure it out. You were able to feed up the system with the proper sources and structuring the data the proper way. 5 years from now, your problems are going to be different.
Exactly.
From the data
not just in scale, but in kind.
Oh, yeah. For sure. At the time to have this conversation, I'm so glad we talk about the different insights, and the goal was, this is something that is not exclusively for engineers. This is not something that is exclusively for analysts. We by default as humans are analysts. We think. And we connect
problem solvers.
Right, exactly. We are problem solvers, and this is just a tool that helps us. It's kind of providing like a magic path into, hey, tweak here and move into that direction, make it part of your roadmap, and I think it's a very tangible connection to your own KPIs. Like, you can be very aware of how the things that you do are actually impacting, in this case, your business and the business. And you will have a very defined set of KPIs that at the end are connected to those variables, that at the end are connected to those data sources, that at the end are providing you the full picture of what you need to do to perform within your role. which is a beautiful cycle.
Exactly. Well, we still have a long way to go before getting that entire picture. Right now, I can tell you, we use just in my just for analytics alone, we use 5 different tools,
Well,
and
yeah.
that's not even the entire picture. We still have lots of questions.
And that's something that I believe is very common in the industry, because what happens is that, you know, we keep adopting. We have a 20 years company that has a very big infrastructure, zero cloud, and servers in house, and all of that. I mean, we all have our own digital transformation journey. Different companies, different sizes, different businesses, different priorities. But at the end, it's a constant transformation. Everybody is transforming. We need to adjust, and we need to do better with that data and ensure that we optimize whatever process we are trying to accomplish to get the most out of it. Period. It's
Entirely.
a tool. It's a tool.
Yeah.
Cool. Very nice having you. Yeah.
Thank you for having
Cong.
me.
Thank you, Cong. Have a good afternoon. Enjoy your weekend, and let's see each other at some point eventually in 3 dimensions.
Thank you. You too.
Bye then.
Bye.